maybe Farsa.
Outrange?
Both of them are susceptible to this Selena.
Kagura.
Something lane dominant, something to say, you know what, we'll figure out a way.
This is diving so deep into the archives of Team Vitality. I think it was even under a different org at the time that we saw the Kagura for this team.
Well, I don't know about you, Taylor, but do you prefer the arrows from the side of Gen.G or the umbrella from Team Vitality?
Gotta go with the arrows. Come on, you want the damage. This is the matchup we've been waiting for. The crowd has showed up. The Vitality fans are going crazy. Gen.G fans, let's also get loud because this is a rematch of the Grand Finals from last year. The one we've been waiting all day for. Let's get it started. Brigida, Athena, take it away.
And that's exactly why the arena feels so electric. It's a matchup we're all looking forward to see. And it's Gen.G versus Vitality. The rematch, the storylines, they're all falling into place. But only this can determine what would be the next for these two teams now that they see and meet each other again. It's a Selena for Ashley. It's something that really took us by surprise. And I know it's a bit 50-50, a very mechanical hero, but I can't help but think it's also just Gen.G's way of speeding things up for the Baksha and making sure that it's not left behind in terms of farming, because that's one of the biggest adjustments we've seen happen to this hero.
Especially if you've reviewed some of Vitality's earlier games yesterday. So Gen.G learned their lesson, and it's quite a bit of a refreshing thing to see onto Ashley's hand as well. It's going to be raining arrows here, but let's see if Shinny, or C rather, could dodge all of that with her umbrellas. Now, talking about Sayori as well with a gourd pick coming in clutch here, she wouldn't have a hard time clearing up the lanes, and most likely here for Vitality, they need to find a way to somehow set up the tempo here on through the early game.
And that's exactly what they compensated for, right? The fact that they might have lacked wave clear and faster rotations, but Arya...
Okay, being punished this early. Flicker already activated. Rui with a counter punch. Vivian and the rest will just disengage. It's Vitality with the discipline and clean disengages against Gen.G.
And the fast rotations from Gen.G as well, so you just really couldn't go in for the full commit. It feels a bit too dangerous to do so. So fortunately, they're keeping everything in check. They're not too behind as well in terms of speed and farming. But Vitality, they're just making their presence felt. Look at how they're showing up even right here in the purple buff.
It's all about the speed, right? So Gen.G wants it faster. Vitality could match up that speed. And now, right on cue, it's going to be the first objective here, targeted by Vival. And it looks like for Vitality, they have quite a good position here just to try and prevent Gen.G forever actually taking this neutral objective.
I mean, it's pretty tough for Gen.G if they want to contest. This is an Arlot Akayu in an objective fight, but yet they still decide to rotate towards the turtle. But can they find trades down?
Okay, the arrow will hit in onto Fumi Echo. Rui on a tight spot. An early first blood here for Fumi Echo. Vitality with a chase down. It's Panda 1 and Ashley going in for the trade up. That's 1-for-1. Arya on the front lane. That is an early aggression here from Vitality as well.
They seem to equalize things, and it's working out for Vitality still. Gen.G had to lose Rui, and that was the entire idea they were trying to fight against. The fact that the Baksha could feel a bit slower in terms of speed and farming, but then they had to lose her, so that slows things down a bit, even though they already had the presence of a Selena in their lineup. So now let's see how they eventually bounce back and get back into the game, because we haven't really seen much rotations just yet. And when I say rotations, it's more on the more successful ones wherein you actually land these skill shots and make sure that they convert into kills, which you could get much more value out of.
Maybe they could compensate that with the arrows that Ashley is showing onto, and that's a quick kill here for Gen.G. Vivian on the other hand, going in hard. Fumi Echo left defenseless here. Traps is there. Vival and Fumi Echo combination here, hitting on the right marks here. Double kill. Vitality with an immediate answer. Panda 1 and Shell 1v1 on top lane. But let's go back to that pickup for Vitality.
Yeah, they did not even need to rotate to find that pickoff, but it seems like Vitality still got the better of them at that moment. They got 2-for-1, and it's still the mid duo that's constantly being shut down. Now Rui.
Oh, it's making it harder for her to farm up. As you've mentioned, it's not even the complete word rotation. It's like, okay, and that's it. They're always being tracked down here by Vitality, continuously hunted down.
Yep, it's tough. Gen.G is a team with a lineup that we kind of expected to activate a bit more early on because of the threat of the arrows, the gourd as well with the supplementary burst damage. But it's taking a while for them to actually find these targets, and now they might have to rely on some of the mistakes that can come in from Vitality. This is a very reliable comp in terms of objectives, and now they're trying to go for another contest with most of their teammates ready and nearby.
Another way to look at it is if Ashley can be able to land those arrows on the perfect target. That is a hard thing to do, knowing that Vitality has the mobility as well. As well here for Fumi Echo, and right on cue, Arya is forced to go on the front lines. That's a free hit here for Chell, and now Gen.G is down on one. Will they contest this one? I think they're trying to fight their way onto it. It's still the Vault securing the neutral objective. Rui trying to run away with the shield unity. That is enough of a pickup right now.
That could have been a flame shot highlight if that flame shot actually resulted into a kill for Rui. But can I just say, this is an interesting turn of events. It's not that we expected the matchup in the EXP lane to turn out this way, but Vitality have had a very good answer to the Phoveus, despite it technically countering the Arlot. Fumi Echo has had a much better time, and I guess it's primarily because of how Vitality have been able to choose their fights. Now even denying that orange... Oh no, it's Sayori. Sayori actually got the purple buff, but that was an attempt from Vitality to just further increase the gap that's already existing between them and Gen.G.
But still, right, they were able to compensate the direct counter for an Arlot with the way that they move here onto the map. Now, we see a lot of flanks onto the way Arya fronts for Gen.G. And now, other lanes are also left vulnerable. Now, they're up against Ashley here, trying to find the right target, but they are still struggling. It's just too much of a tempo that Vitality already got. That's a 2K lead for game number 1, 6 minutes into the game.
Yeah, I agree. They're trying to stay proactive. They're trying to constantly move around the map and find whatever they can. It's just that Vitality seem too difficult to catch as well. Catch off guard, land these skill shots. So regardless if they actually find, let's say, Chini, right? Seems like one of the best targets at this point. She also has the Rasho Umbrella Flea, so that doesn't even make her the best target either. So Chell, at this point, always well guarded, and that's where you see it.
Oh, that's a perfect example of what you were just trying to explain. And for Gen.G, the moment that they land those targets, it's a bit too late already. They've already been bursted down by Vitality, and now even though they've got the position, the damage just isn't there yet. Now another neutral objective is there. The arrow land onto Vival. So there's going to be a dash. Arya onto Chell. She's keeping her at bay, but going to give her free hit. She's stopped it. But a heavy spin here for Vival. Follow up here for Cini and Fumi Echo from the back. There's going to be a sandwich play here. It's Fumi Echo keeping Panda 1 VC even under the turret. Killing spree this early. Panda 1, you get the shutdown kill instead. But all of that advantages went to Vitality.
Yeah, that was 3 kills and the mid-turret that they were able to secure, plus a purple buff and eventually most likely a turtle as well. Multiple objectives and structures over to their side, and that's why the lead is just starting to balloon. They're not having problems dealing with any of the potential threats that we expected from Gen.G. Arya seems to be such a fragile target for Chell at this point. It's very uncharacteristic because of you expecting that the Phoveus would be the one to just keep this carry in check. But it's Chell making sure that she's the one who presents herself right in front of the Phoveus and not even caring at all because she's already equipped enough to shred this XP laner down.
It's a prey being the hunter at this point for Vitality. He just got this way on how to dodge those bullets here. Coming from Panda 1, Fumi Echo with assist. Final flush onto 2, and that's what we're talking about. It's kind of weird to see it's Gen.G falling over on those attempts of a tempo against Vitality.
Yep, they could not find that tempo. Now it's most likely playing for recovery for Gen.G. This is just too much dominance that we're seeing from Vitality across the map. And they're playing with heroes who I think even the panel highlighted as not so much part of the meta if
Yep.
you're mainly relying on them for your carries, because looking at their lineup, it's really around Panda 1 that you're really expecting majority of the scaling to come from, but it's not like Ranger is really considered as the most scaling marksman either.
It isn't.
It's likely going to be Sayori, but it's taking a bit of time. They're trying to set up, or their setups are taking a lot of time before we eventually see them executed. And now with Fumieko also picking up the Rose Gold Meteor, you could just expect this aggression to get even worse.
It's all about fights here for Vitality, making it harder for Gen.G to actually catch up. Even though Arya could land a great Dark Wave even down to 2 to 3 members of Vitality, but still, the damage isn't enough. We've mentioned it's Sayori that's taking a bit too long to really be activated if to go for the burst. And for Vitality, on the other hand, another way to totally compromise the jungler pattern here for Gen.G is to try and take it all over. Especially even onto the jungle creeps. Gen.G couldn't even touch that one. Arya still got a perfect play on the shell. But still, the rest will just isn't there yet, Vivian, on the tight spot. But still, she will be able to back away. Instead, it's Jewelry and Arya falling down just before a Lord take even eventually comes in.
Gen.G definitely wanted to take on that fight. That was the pursuit that Arya risked, expecting the follow-up as well to come in. But the pin down with the heavy spin just made it difficult for Gen.G to even push forward because they already lost Arya. And it's a tough task for her and Rui at the same time. They're the ones who have to get in first. They're the ones who have to set up.
Yep.
But every single time they attempt to, it seems that Vitality are not even afraid. They're not rattled by the least because they already have Chell, who's currently 8.9k in gold, already completed the Trinity and is on the verge of completing her items. Whereas if you take a look at Panda, yes, she already has the Hunter Strike and the Malefic Roar, but this Sky Piercer, you have to wait until you actually get the value out of it. There's so much catching up that Gen.G actually need to do, and we're approaching the 12-minute mark. Fortunately, still have some of their holy shields intact, but they're on the verge of losing a bunch of their base turrets too.
Yep. Time definitely is not on their side here for Gen.G. You have to keep those stacks rolling in for Panda if you want to survive this task, this tedious task that Vitality tried to do. Both inhibitor turrets here on the mid and on the bottom side is being targeted here by Vitality. Big volley yet again with heavy spin. It's Arya falling down. The front runner here for Gen.G is easily picked off, and now it's left for Ashley to land those arrows. But a flame shot kill here from Zini will seal the deal. Down 2 women here for Gen.G. All their base turrets have been totally destroyed here by Vitality.
And that is a flame shot highlight right there if you've ever seen one. It's been so long since we've seen a flame shot here in competitive play, but oh no, Rui gets caught!
And this is it. Vitality just exerts their dominance here onto game number 1. What cracks? There are no more cracks onto their formation, onto their domination, as they slowly choke out the life of Gen.G here for game number 1 alone.
I am starting to understand why the Phoveus was baited out of Gen.G and why they were just willing to let it go. Just look at how difficult of a time Arya is actually having on this hero. And it's just really something difficult to digest because it's a matchup that you really would expect to go her way. But it seems like Vitality have completely read out the kind of approach that Gen.G actually want to play into. They pretty much let them play the early that they want in terms of speeding up the farm, but other than that, they are not landing any of these skill shots. They are not able to maximize the early threat and presence of a double mage mid duo that they actually decided to field here in this game, and they're just taking it step by step because we're 12 seconds away until the next objective spawns, and with an 11k gold lead, this was mentioned by our panel earlier, it's very difficult to find a way around this kind of situation.
That is just too much to handle for Gen.G. Plus, considering that 3 of their supposedly damage leaders is linear. They're on a straight arrow, they hit or they miss. But most of the time, it's a miss. Because for Vitality, all they need to do is juggle around, who will be getting the arrow, who will be getting all the skill shots here from Panda 1, and the rest could just go for the free hits. Now, Sini is still untouchable, by the way, with their Kagura pick.
Yep.
And it totally made sense. She has the mobility, she has the burst, and the flame shot, the cherry on top, just to finish things off here for Vitality.
Yeah, none of them honestly even opted to go for Purify. At this point,
Nope.
it's just really them adapting through the heroes that they've actually picked up. And I think it's also very dependable for them to have the Sakai in their lineup, because even when Gen.G decided to go in for multiple times, they just had to use it defensively, push them away, or even better yet, find the perfect pin down. But this is a Lord Siege incoming for Team Vitality. Let's see if it ends here.
Oh, another fight that's not connecting onto two members. Panda already down. Fumi Echo taking out Arya from the process here from Gen.G eSports. It's Shell locking in onto the tower. An easy game 1 win for Vitality.
They had zero plans of letting Gen.G extend that game any further. And Team Vitality are one step closer in securing their knockout spot.
This is a spicy draft, Reflections. We have Selena on the other side, and this time it's not Ashley, it's Sini.
That's right, and maybe we'll hear in a post-interview if Cindy did it to specifically call out Ashley. It's getting deep in here, but the question is, will Gen.G stay alive? Will they be able to finally take down their boogeyman of Vitality? Let's find out. Brigitte, Athena, take it away.
Match point is underway for Team Vitality up against Gen.G as we are moments away from heading into game number 2. What a statement! I agree. What better way to close it out if not by winning through a pick that was unsuccessful for Gen.G in game number 1. The Selena now in Sini's hands.
That is a lot of confidence here for Vitality. And as you mentioned though, it's kind of a bit of a question mark still here for Vitality, right? But let's see, if there is a team that could make it work, it's going to be one of the strongest team or the defending champion. Now for Gen.G, they go in for early aggression as well on the mid lane.
Yeah, Rui actually stole away a green cap from Vitality's side, whereas Vival just decided to get a green cap of their own. So basically both level 2, but that was a stolen jungle cap, and we're seeing a skirmish in as early as less than a minute into this game. Gen.G is trying to be a bit more active. They did not want a repeat of game number 1.
They are playing right at where the level is Vitality when it comes to facing here on the early facing of our game, which is what we would love to see, right, for Gen.G. Instead of them just going for the counter punches, we want to see them throw out the first punches and then do so onto punishing members here for Vitality. Now, looking back though here onto the composition for Gen.G eSports, now they stay in with Ashley's show, and right on cue, she is forced out of her flicker.
Yep, a resource already down for Ashley, but at least they got resources elsewhere. City, close call too, but we'll get to dash away from that attempt from Gen.G. And there isn't a significant advantage that we're seeing from both sides just yet. I'm surprised to even see that slight lead in favor of Vitality, because Gen.G were able to steal away a couple camps, even the Little Wanderer falling into Rui's hands for that first jungle rotation. But I guess this is where things change. Yeah, first turtle up, and we're seeing only Vivian scouting the area for Vitality.
There's kind of a bit of a delay here for Ashley, only of level 2. But right on cue here for Arya, Falling Storm and committing onto Viva. And that is how she keeps her at bay as Gen.G attempts to get the turtle. It's going to be Sayori with the last hit, first blood as well. That's a great opener here for Gen.G, chasing down onto Fumi Echo. But still, that is a great statement start here for Gen.G.
Arya definitely wants to play this time. She wants to be the EXP later. She wants to be seen. This is a different hero that you've handed over to her, and it's going to make a huge difference. The way that she just made sure Vival could struggle to get close to the objective, and if not even just get close, but even put her down to below half HP, enough so Gen.G could actually get the kill. But Ashley, though, down bottom.
Okay, Chell is forced out of her Blazing Duet, but that is it. She just needs to survive the early facing Ashley's attempts. But going back onto Arya, we mentioned she's one of the best XP laners out here in the female team for female MWI teams. And so far, with her Esmeralda play yesterday, I think this also translates into how well she is when you given a hero that could set up, could sustain, and as well give most of that punches in for Vitality.
Yeah, she's just not letting go of Vival. Vival's struggling to be the very high mobility surprise type of Hirara in this scenario where Arya's just always trying to stay around her. That was close for... that looked like an attempt for Gen.G, but they didn't really push through. Probably also got to see Vivian around the area. And now let's see how Vitality are dealing with this rotation.
This is how they deal with it. They just still off orange buffs against Gen.G, and that's how they slowly build up their momentum. Sayori with a clutch black shoes. Vivian onto the back lanes. That was a really close call. High-risk plays here for Gen.G so far.
Yeah, but we're yet to also see how they're really able to convert the threat of the Selena yet again. Mostly, majority of the action is coming in from Arya. It's from Gen.G. Vitality seem to be waiting for that opportunity to get at least a grab or maybe even land an arrow.
So now the plan for Vitality is to send in Foamy Echo, but that's not looking good. But no, that is a great throw of Ruin. Pandemon caught in the crossfire. Rui Force with a Turtles Passant. It's all over for her as Foamy Echo and Vivian doubles down. It's a double kill for Foamy Echo. The turtle is left untouched. Now there's an action here coming from Vitality.
A 2-0 for an Alice early on. Arya still trying to be an annoying Esmeralda in her face, but this is Vival most probably still getting to secure the objective.
No!
She didn't have her retribution at the time.
Okay, it paid off for Arya.
Yes, it was very worth it. Now they do have the retribution, but the turtle is up. Gen.G and Vitality could both make their way to this objective if they wanted to, but things seem to be different for Vival. They might not risk it, not unless they find an opening. But it's so far just really Arya and Foamy Echo zoning them all out.
They're really considering onto giving up the turtle altogether. They just want to interrupt the whole process here for Gen.G. If we could get the turtle, so can you, right? And for Gen.G, they're attempting to somehow zone out the members of Vitality here. But Foamy Echo and Vivian is just not having any of it. Now it's Ashley targeting on Vival. She's just zoning them out, sitting onto the side. Arrow and traps are there, but the damage just isn't enough to get a kill. Foamy Echo with a Crimson Gleam going in. Vival clutches to get the turtle alongside Vivian here. Sayori forces out onto her black shoes. Foamy Echo buying enough time to just delay things up here for Gen.G. That was quite the messy of initiation here for Gen.G.
Yeah, Foamy Echo. That was Foamy Echo just making sure that it was a better scenario for Vitality to just commit to the objective. The way that they again forced Rui out, put her down to very low HP, and all just by being an Alice that's standing in the way. This is a 2-0 Alice that you're talking about, just picking up the Radiant Armor too, so that adds to an additional layer of sustainability that you will have trouble dealing with if you're Gen.G. At this point, I feel like they might not have enough resources to deal with it head on, as we could take a look at the items eventually. But Vitality, there you go. At least they have a glowing wand in Sayori.
And that's it. That is the kit that she needs to actually punish onto Vitality. A body kick here for Ashley, but Vivian and Foamy Echo tries to get away. Damage just isn't giving it here for Gen.G. And you just mentioned that Vitality, all they needed to do is force out Gen.G out of mispositions here. And there are numerous health resources here exhausted, such as the Flicker for Ashley, and for Vitality. Things just keep getting better. Shell got the most out of her zone onto the bottom side. That's a hefty amount of gold advantage that Vitality was able to get in 7 minutes into the game.
Yep, and I feel like Gen.G could have also went for more aggressive setups if only there weren't as much information. I know we haven't seen much of the arrows just landing yet from City, but I think the placements are also something that matter in this game. The way that they're always just able to scout, the movements from Gen.G, similar to what we saw just now, is being very pivotal in how this game is playing out. Oh, the arrow now lands onto Rui.
Okay, that's a very crucial take here for Cine. Ashley commits onto the wave of the dragon. Cine immediately taken out here by Arya. Shell finds a great opening with a blazing duet, but Sayor with a single black shoes will be able to survive that. Panda 1 being cornered, of all people, taken down. The goal laner for Gen.G is down. Now they don't have enough damage to actually tore down the defenses here for Vitality. The Lord is left alone. It's still Vitality coming up on top, finding the right targets and angles against Gen.G.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest concerns we had for the draft as well. Gen.G, they do have setup, they do have pick-off potential, but can they actually provide the right amount of damage? Arya, oh, the knockups!
She might not make it. Fumi Echo hot on her tails. Ashley in an instant taken down. This is just too much to handle. They're coming in one by one here from Gen.G.
Yep, now it's Vitality. Oh, with the control over this objective. Rui has some information, can potentially catch up to. This is a factor that we're talking about after all, but will they let them through? Vivian blocking the way as much as they can, as well as Fumi Echo.
Oh, it's still beautiful getting on to the Lord. Arya finds her way in, but won't find her way out. As Vitality takes her down, that's a 5k gold lead. An objective onto Vitality. All in all, that isn't any in favor or pros from Gen.G. They've got nothing out of it.
It seems like they still wanted to force the fight, however. It seems like they still at least wanted to get the attention of Vitality, maybe momentarily stop them from at least focusing on the objective, but Vitality refused to do so. They were just making sure that they will be able to secure the objective nonetheless, especially with Rui out of sight. If there was anyone who was actually able to approach, it was just either Arya, it was just either Ashley. But Rui was the main problem, and they need not worry about that. Okay, now it's a Lord.
Oh, okay. I just saw Ashley activate the flicker just to try and cross that big boulder. I think that is huge info here right now for Vitality.
Yeah.
That is a huge giveaway right now, and Arya will have a hard time putting up on the front line here against Vitality. Yet again, they're down to the last bits of their base turret. It might even explode with the next bit of minion waves that Vitality was able to control. To BH, the macro isn't really that giving here for Gen.G. It's all about the map awareness, map control, all onto the side of Vitality. Ashley gets a kick onto Vivian. There's going to be a follow from Arya with a falling star, but not the damage. The respo, it's just isn't there yet. Vivian goes in with a clutch play. Shaw with a free hit. The two women down here for Gen.G. They go at it again. Double kill yet again here for Vival. What a way to scout out the members from Gen.G.
The coordination from Vitality, a single failed attempt from Gen.G is what cost them these 3 kills and possibly even a base turret that will go over to Vitality. The moment that they saw the way of the dragon already down and that multiple members of Gen.G were out of their base, they took that opening, that beautiful Throne of Ruin, that entry from Vival and the arrows from City, but Arya wants to fight again.
Okay, that is quite a successful play here for Gen.G. They're just forcing their way in. It's Fumi Echo being cornered out. There's going to be a dashing out. Okay, the bullets will hit from Panda 1, but an immediate response here for Gen.G. They're still alive and kicking. And they've got 2 core damage here from Vitality. I think that is fruitful enough. The risk was worth it for them. But still, for Vitality, they're trying to survive. Ashley from the back! What a great way to dragon onto Cine! But still, they weren't able to burst her down. Survival at its finest here for Vitality.
The question remains, do they have enough to burst down whoever Ashley eventually finds? Because they burned the flicker for that kick. You would assume they could, because that was Cine who they were actually able to find. But even with the bullets landing, even with Panda actually providing the follow-up, it didn't seem like they had enough. What more if things get a bit messier in the team fights? And we're just talking about a 5k gold lead currently in the hands of Team Vitality. More so, once we actually scale into the latter portions of the game, once Gen.G actually gets to prolong it to that point, do we expect that the Ranger could actually deal with everything? the Skypiercer stacks aren't even handed over to him. It's not like he could just put herself forward. It's Arya who's actually just trying to force their way through, open up a bit more of the map, and try to create space when there are actually team fights going on. But other than that, this is going to be a tough task for Gen.G.
That is the reality. And to answer the question on whether Panda will be enough, I don't think it will be. Because for now, Vitality still has most of the gold, most of the damages, plus they're really having a hard time committing onto getting the right targets. And now there's also Lord in the mix. They're burning it down as fast as possible, but Vitality is just waiting for those arrows to hit, and that might be it. Now Gen.G needs to be really careful on where and when they should commit Ashley's flicker, even the Way of the Dragon. 5 seconds next before they go in with a Blitz clutch play. It's Vival trying to run away. Arya getting caught in the crossfire, but Foaming Echo does it again. She forces out Panda out of position. Vitality brute forces their way in. Foaming Echo yet again on the front lines. Panda will be the time down. Vivian Shell with a blazing no and Panda and Ashley in a very hefty position, but they will do it. They will still survive. Defend their forward base, and Vitality won't be able to end game number 2.
Vivian was brought back to the fountain, and Panda looked like it was about to really get bad for her, but even then, she was also able to just regain her HP back, and that was a successful attempt from Gen.G to defend and prolong this game. That's what we're talking about. Finally, they also get to pick up a stack for themselves for the Skypiercer. We take a look at that replay where it did feel like they were just trying to intercept and make sure that Gen.G weren't the ones who were actually going to start things up. And that was a beautiful way of just forcing Sayori and Panda out of position, as you mentioned. But Sayori was quick to also re-engage, get back, zone them out, and Ashley with the mobility too. But Vitality are not letting go of this.
Okay, for Gen.G, they don't care how expensive it will be just to get a kill. As long as they get it, as long as they get the job done, they will take it. Vitality now has somewhat having a hard time to actually finishing off this round, because now Sayori and Panda is getting harder to catch from the back lanes.
It is. 30 seconds before the next flicker of Panda comes back. Sayori does need a minute to get her Purify back too. And there's only 10 seconds before we actually see the next objective. Gen.G want to get out of their base. Gen.G actually want to make something happen. But Cine already spots Arya, and they have a pretty decent amount of info. Enough to know that Gen.G are planning to do so.
Plus, Vitality knows that Gen.G has to send someone over onto the top lane. They still have the control over the map. And for Gen.G, they have two things in mind. First, clear off the waves onto the sides. Plus, try and prevent things from de-escalating here from Vitality. But Arya goes in.
Okay.
That was a very risky call here. If she was caught, if she was dead, that would have been the end here for game number 2.
Oh, no.
But that might be it. Rui! What an expensive overstay there.
Yeah.
Just when Vitality finally gets a Lord.
Taking advantage of the fact that they saw Ashley dealing with the waves up top too. They've just blitzed the Lord. And what better way to close that out by finding a kill onto one of their most crucial front lines, their jungler Rui on the backsha. How many times have we seen that happen? But does Vitality close it out here?
Okay, that made it even better here for Vitality. Foaming Echo from the back. Panda is forced to flicker her way out to her survivability. Ashley as well. They can do nothing but stare back into Vitality, brute forcing their way in again. And they go in. Ashley is being held over here by Vivian. And they focus fire onto the tower as Vitality secures the 2-0 against Gen.G.
And the results of the rematch remain the same. Team Vitality sweep Gen.G to punch their ticket to the knockouts. And they do it in a very dominant fashion.